Yarnie, welcome to Ospreys TV. You're a familiar face perhaps behind the scenes of the region, but perhaps our viewers at Ospreys TV might not be too aware of who you are and what you do and what your responsibilities are. You're commercial manager. Would you perhaps like to begin by filling us in on what the role of the commercial department is and what part you play in the jigsaw that is Ospreys Rugby?
I can do that. Look, well, our vision at the Ospreys, the first line of our vision is sustainable success on and off the field. So for us, obviously, we're the caretakers of the off-the-field activity, and I suppose custodians of the Ospreys brand to a degree. We manage that brand, and our job is to grow that brand, and we do that in a couple of ways. The first thing is we need to create and grow a strong connection with our public. And the rugby public is not just local audience, but also we're trying to grow the brand to become a global force, and so we have to take into account fans that are not just right around the stadium here as well, but further afield. Also, we have two types of audiences. We have our supporters, but also a really strong corporate following that we have to look after too. That's the first part of it, but I suppose the second part of it is really to ensure that we have really strong revenue streams coming into the club. And that means that that the team is going to be competitive on the field, that we can continue to grow our player stocks and fulfil the potential of the club. Well, the commercial department's broken down into three revenue generating divisions, and that is merchandise, ticketing and commercial sales. And commercial sales is itself broken down into 3 areas, which is sponsorship, advertising and hospitality, matchday hospitality at the stadium. And I suppose in years gone by, around about 50% of the revenue was brought in by the commercial department. Obviously, recently there's been some increments made on the other side of the coin, the parts that are the non-controllables for us as a commercial team, and that is the money that comes in from the national governing body, the competitions in which we play, and television. So obviously there's been a much publicised fight to make that pot larger, and we've secured some more income, and now our job as a commercial team is probably to mirror that growth with our traditional departments that I've just talked about now.
Obviously the purpose of this chat, as we've done with several others over the last few weeks, is to look back at 2014-15 and maybe identify some of the highlights and the successes of the year. So if you were talking about your department, what have been the highlights? Has it been a good year commercially for the Ospreys?
Yeah, it's been a solid year, I would say, after the turmoil of the 18 months prior to that. We've had some solid results across all three divisions, but I would say that the highlights wouldn't be necessarily as achievable if the team hadn't performed the way it did. And the team obviously confounded some critics. The team works with a type of ethic that we want to replicate ourselves in our commercial department, I would say. And so, part of the cornerstone of our vision is also the pursuit of excellence, and that's a daily thing that is reminded. It's up on all of our screensavers in the office, and I think as a unit we all strive to achieve that excellence in everything we do. Nobody's perfect, everyone makes mistakes, and we're conscious of that, and we can always be better. But there have been some highlights, and I suppose the merchandise deal that we were able to do with BLK just over a year ago. That was their first season and the new kit. The players were super happy with the gear. The sales performance was very good, up 20% on like-for-like sales from the Christmas before. So, there are encouraging signs. In terms of commercial sales, we've also seen some growth. We try and work pretty hard to make sure that the commercial partners, we work alongside them rather than just giving them visibility. For example, we've seen around about 20% growth in terms of revenue from our shirt sponsorships, and we've grown our commercial partners. We've had some of the highest renewal rates I think they've ever been. So that's a good sort of sign that the things that we are providing for our sponsors are working, that their experience with us is good. We try to put on an atmosphere that's a little bit like the old club atmosphere, but probably ensure that there's a professional touch as well, and that businesses that do partner up with us get a genuine return on investment. We've seen good growth in matchday hospitality, in particular our Ospreys Executive Clubs. Again, it's been very popular this year with more members signing up to be part of that club. It's a nice matchday environment. It's where people can come and host clients before the matches, and it's also an area that's fully hosted. The team returns there after the game, so I think that'll continue to grow. We've got our 2003 club, which again this year is almost sold out very quickly. An area that we're going to be obviously concentrating on now is our premium product, which is our hospitality boxes, which have undergone a revamp across the summer, and those packages are just being launched as we speak. So looking forward to the next season and what the hospitality will bring there. In terms of our ticketing revenues and crowd numbers, we went through a particularly difficult year last year with a lot of negativity out of the political situation, which didn't help the regions commercially, and particularly with bums on seats. And I think what we have seen this year with a number of things have led to a little bit of an increase there. Well, a significant increase. We've gone up around about 30% on last year's figures, and that's been due to a few things. We've got a new ticketing system in place here with Ticketmaster, and finally we get a better understanding of who our supporters are, how old they are, where they live, and it's information which is really valuable in terms of being able to connect with our supporters. Other developments at the Liberty Stadium have been positive too. Mega screens which make the experience a little bit more interactive, the ability for people to print tickets at home. Season ticket numbers are actually fairly strong, so we're pretty happy with where we are there. In general, I think things are heading in a really positive direction in terms of our crowd growth. There's plenty to do. The new ticketing division in 2014-15 had put in a really solid performance. I think the new group ticket initiative and the emergence of what we call super groups has actually given us a real boost to our numbers. We've had a number of matches where more than 1,000 people from one group have come to enjoy the match day, such as scouts, guides, and I think one of the big changes is there's an opportunity now to be part of the day. It's an interactive type day for them where they can be with their peers, be involved as flag bearers. They can be down in the O-Zone with their friends enjoying themselves. It's our pre-match village. Those sort of experiences, bench warmers, pre-match, and being out on the pitch are really memorable experience for these young people from around the area, and they've been a great addition this year.
So that's 2014-15, but looking ahead to next season, what are the biggest challenges that the commercial department face as the Ospreys strive to remain number one in Wales?
I think that one of the biggest focus areas for us moving forward really is the crowd situation. We would love to have a much fuller stadium or more vibrant atmosphere here at the Liberty, and I think that's one of the big areas. We're blessed with a very large stadium, one of the largest in the UK and Ireland in terms of rugby. So it's a blessing, but it's also a problem in a way, because you have to work twice as hard to get that atmosphere and get the stadium full. And obviously we're working with multiple partners inside the environment here too, obviously a stadium management company, a council, and a wonderful Premier League football team. So sometimes those things can create obstacles, but obviously we work together to try and overcome those. A lot of people ask the question or pose the question, how is it that in Ireland they can do such a wonderful job of filling the stadiums and we can't in Wales? But there are some factors that are genuinely very, very different in Ireland, and part of that's due to the population, where you have some big teams and very big centres. For example, Leinster operates out of a major city, 2.5 million people. Wales, the whole of Wales, around about 3 million. So they are the only show in town. Ulster likewise, they are the only professional entity in town. Munster the same, and we're talking about populations of 1.5, 2 million, up to 2.5 in Leinster, versus we have a wonderful region here, but 500,000 in terms of a population pool to draw from here for the stadium, and really we're looking in a corridor where you could throw a net over 4 competitive teams that all compete in the same league. Our nearest and biggest rival is just 9 miles away. So we're in a challenged environment. That doesn't mean we throw in the towel. It means we work hard, just as hard as our players and our coaches and our rugby staff are working. And there's a number of ways that we're wanting to get closer to the public. Obviously, having more people out on the ground, working for our commercial department, in the community, in the clubs, in the schools, and giving people a real reason to come to the stadium rather than watch the game at home. Our television stats for viewer numbers are still the highest by far. in terms of the Welsh regions. We have strong following on TV, but we've got to work collectively with broadcasters, with the competition, and with local stakeholders to make sure that the product here is good enough for them to get off the couch, come down, and be part of the excitement on the match day here. And that's what we're aiming to do. The professional game is continuing to evolve, and part of that evolution is really sort of that changing that mindset and adapting with the times from your traditional Saturday afternoon rugby to different time slots, unfortunately, which we cannot control. Now, we get dealt a hand. It's a Friday night, or it's a Saturday afternoon, or it's a Saturday night, or it's a Sunday night. I think one thing that we are starting to improve on is adapting and planning for and making the most of the situation that you get in front of you. And I suppose there's been a couple of examples of where that's gone very well for us. The Cardiff Blues, for example, the crowd this year was the largest ever outside in this Christmas window. So it was a great job, and that was a Sunday 4 o'clock, and then the Northampton crowd on Sunday 5 o'clock. Despite being basically out of Europe at that point, we still had a really strong crowd, and I think the biggest walk up of the calendar season. So there are signs of light. We think that the Pro 12 as a product is a really exciting one. So many brilliant international players on show. The stadium is at a point where we've got the facilities and the features that on a match day are worthy of coming along and having a great day out. We've just got to be able to connect with our public a little bit better, and we've got some exciting community initiatives, some fairly large ones that are going to be launched in due course over the coming months that will hopefully enable us to be out in the community a little bit more, connecting with our public, getting everyone closer to this team, and if we can continue to work as well as our counterparts in the rugby department with the players on the field, and we do our bit off the field, we continue to grow this brand to where it needs to be, and I look forward to being part of that journey.